Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. Can you believe it is March 31st? What a wonderful month of March. We thank God for how God has blessed us. We're now still in that season of Lent. We're just a few weeks away from what we call Easter or Resurrection Sunday. Thank God for all of you. Let's continue to pray for this world in which we live. Let's pray for all of the world leaders. Let's pray for our local persons who serve as elected officials. And let's definitely pray for all of our religious leaders, that God might help all of us to hear his voice and to share his love with all of God's people. Today, I want you to hear a word that comes to us out of Philippians, the 2nd chapter, verses 19 through 24. Paul is now writing to the church of Philippi. He gives them a very powerful message. He comes commending his leadership and offering Timothy to them. Now, remember, Paul was the one who helped to establish all of these New Testament churches. And he was not only just one who established churches, but he was a great teacher. He was a great trainer. He was a great leader. He mentored people. He passed on the legacy. Paul was so smart enough to know that all of us must come to the full grips of our humanity, that one day the end will come. And if the end comes and we've kept the message to ourselves, the message dies as well. Paul was smart enough to say, that which I received from the Lord, I also give unto you. He believed in passing it on. Now, in the text today, he talks about, first of all, if the Lord is willing, I want to send you someone. I think Paul helps us to have the very powerful statement all of us should make. And that is, if the Lord is willing. Too oftentimes in our lives, we say what we will do, what we won't do, but we must always remind ourselves, that is if the Lord is willing. Because if the Lord has something for us to do or not to do, that's the only way it will happen, only by God's willing. He says, if the Lord is willing, I hope to send Timothy to you soon. You see, he knew who Timothy was. Timothy was like his son. Timothy was the one that he had mentored, he discipled. He knew about Timothy's faith. He knew about his faith in his parents and his grandparents. He knew about the generational link that Timothy had with the gospel and with those who follow God's will. So he says, I'm sending Timothy to you. I hope to do it soon if the Lord's will. He says, because he will come and cheer you up the same way he's cheered me up. It is so powerful. He lets us see, and he helps us to understand that not only is he discipling Timothy, but he knows Timothy has this gift of God that's been placed in him through and by God. But not only that, through the teaching of his parents, his grandparents, he has generational wealth of the good news within him. He says that when Timothy comes, you will find out he is such an encouragement. He was going to encourage you the same way he encourages me. And he says something so powerful. He says there's nobody else like Timothy. I could send somebody else, but there's nobody like Timothy. You know, wouldn't it be great for God to be able to use us as his ambassadors, for everybody to see us coming and go like, there's no one else like you, because you bring about the words of encouragement. You bring about the true essence of the gospel. You don't filter it with other stuff, but you just give it just the way God would have it. I'm so happy that the Apostle Paul was smart enough to see within individuals the potential, and not only the potential, but he heard from God, and God said, pour into him so he can be a vessel to pour into the church. Now we see lastly, he talks about Timothy has proven himself to be a man like his father. That's awesome. He knew Timothy had in him the qualities that was in his father. So he said, since he does, I know it's going to work well for you. So Paul sends Timothy, and he's hoping that Timothy will get there to encourage this New Testament church, that the church of Philippi will know that God always has an answer for them, and God always has a messenger to give the message to encourage others that they may encourage somebody else. Today, why don't you and I consider being a Timothy, someone who has received the gospel free and true, someone who has received it from its authenticity, and share it on with others, that they too can pass on the good news of the message. So let's go out and make disciples of Jesus Christ. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. And I'll look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. And I always know in this year of 2022, God has a great blessing in store for you as well as for me. We'll see you on tomorrow.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.